Golf Podcast, presented by Golficity, where we bring you the tips, instruction, and support you need to get the most out of your golf game. And now your hosts, Frank and Mike.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Golf Podcast. This is episode number 188. We're going to be talking about our recent experience at the President's Cup. If you followed along on our Snapchat and Instagram, you saw me and Mike looking like fools with our decked out in our American flag blazers, but they were a huge hit. Mike, how much fun was that?
What a success. What a fashion success, I should say, because let me tell you something. Those blazers were comfortable. They were stylish. They were elegant. Actually, someone said we looked dapper, which was great.
We got a couple dappers thrown out there.
Tons of, and you know what? The best part was just randoms asking to take photos with us. And It was funny. They're like, can we take a photo? And I was like, sure. You want me to take the camera? Where do you want to stand? They're like, no, we want to take it of you. I'm like, okay, it's great, right? Yeah. But no, it was fun. I mean, the atmosphere was great, and how incredibly sick did that golf course look? That
was amazing. I want to get into that. I want to get into some quick validation we had on our style choices that day.
Right.
But before all we do that, we got to talk about this. And anybody who's in the Facebook group already knows the news, but how funny. We wrapped up last week's episode, you talking about how you've never had an eagle. We said with your distance, you would think you'd get a lot more opportunities. And exactly, what was it, one day later? Was it Monday you were playing?
The eagle happened 18 hours after we recorded the episode.
After the episode gets recorded, this guy makes his first eagle, and it was an epic one. So anybody who's not in the group, Mike, tell us the story.
Yeah, and I'm not going to discount any eagle from being, better than the other or the next or whatever, because an eagle's an eagle, and I've been dying to have one, as I've talked about many times on the show. So this was the fourth hole at Blue Hill. Of course, I play up here in Rockland County, New York. A lot of you listeners know about this course and have played here, but it's a great local municipal course. It's very forgivable and just a lot of fun. And there's one hole which everybody debates. It's a dogleg right. It's like 220 to the landing zone. Then you got an easy 100 yards in. I think the whole hole reads on the card about 334, 344. But according to Arcos and the other GPS device I had, everything was kind of matching up. About 290 to 298 would be the direct line over a whole bank of trees.
Well, that's what I want to ask you, because you had posted the Arcos overlay, and I couldn't tell from that. It looked like a ton of trees. Could you see that green?
You can't see the green. You could see a little bit. You could see enough. It's bare enough where you could see shirts through it to know that the group ahead of you is off the green.
Okay.
But you just kind of have a general idea. Like I saw a little bit of the flag through, the cracks, but there's a lot of trees, and they're high trees. So not only do you have to fly it high, but you have to have the perfect line here, because if you go right, you're OB. It's all OB right, and if you go too far left, if you don't cut it enough, then you're going to carry where your typical landing zone is. You're going to go right onto the highway. So there really is no room for error here.
Yeah.
But what's funny was I went double on the holes before. I got off to a great start. Then I went double, and I was just kind of like down. And my buddy was like, he got up, he hit his 200-yard shot right to the perfect spot, and he's like, "What are you going to do?" I go, "You know what? I got to try to make up some ground." I went for it, and I hit the perfect shot that was right on line with the green. I had no idea, of course. I just said, all right, let's see what happens. Because I've done it before. I've gone over the green. I've come up short, but I've always had a nice flight towards that green because I always go for it on this hole.
Yeah.
Long story short, I drive up there and I see this speck like inches from the hole. And I'm like, come on, no way. I think that's just a divot mark. What is that? And I pull up. Sure enough, I'm 18 inches from the pin on a 340-yard par 4. And I played it. I couldn't even find the ball mark. It must have hit the top of the bank by the bunker, got a lucky bounce. I have no idea. I'll never know because I just know where it ended up. Got up there, I knocked it in. I had it all on camera. Did a whole snap story that day. It was pretty funny. And like you said, I posted it in the Facebook group. So that's on YouTube, actually. I can always go back and watch my first eagle. I'm so stoked about that.
That is right. So if anybody missed that story, because I know those things disappear, you can see it. We try to post when we round these stories up, Instagram and Snapchat. We got two new playlists that we put together on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Golficity, and you can find them there. But that's why I love to following along. I mean, I even follow along on these accounts, because I'm watching it on Snapchat and I'm watching from my office.
And when I text you, I was walking off the green. All I said to you was, check out my Snap story.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden I see it, and it just happened, and I'm like, no way. What are the chances?
I know. What are the chances? And the best part about it is I get up to the next hole, the fifth par. This was probably the easiest par 3 you'll ever step up to. It was, I shouldn't say it was easy because it was still kind of a knock. It was 170 yards, but there isn't anything around you. It's just dead straight. Yeah. And of course, I just I sculled it right, and I ended up making a double on such an easy hole. And then I think I went double, triple after that. I just had a stretch of some tough holes, but you know what? I didn't care. Yeah. Because my heart was racing for a little bit. If I had a heart rate monitor, I was curious to see because I couldn't settle down the excitement for at least 2 to 3 holes.
Yep.
I just couldn't do it. I was just, amazed.
And it's so funny because that's another thing we were just talking about was, controlling your emotions out there, from a good and bad standpoint, and then being able to even your game out a little bit. And that's exactly why, for that reason, because it is so tough, whether it's going bad or if it's going just so good, to have something like that finally happens. We were talking about
what a
that
relief.
Just last episode too. I mean, it's amazing all this stuff coming all at once, but we were talking about shaking the jitters, pressure, and how to do that and how to control your emotions. So there's pressure both ways. There's pressure when you're doing bad to get better, when there's pressure when you're playing well to play even better or keep playing well. So that's really cool. So that was a huge accomplishment. And then too, I want to highlight just a lot of awesome stuff going on with our listeners in the Facebook group. A lot of big accomplishments. So there's a couple that I wanted to call out real quick. And guys, let us know when you meet some sort of personal goal or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. It's all relative to your game. Some guys are listeners. They're in the group. They're brand new. Just something like breaking 100 is a milestone, but whatever it is, we've all been there. So it's great to kind of follow other guys' progress. But, 2 that I wanted to call out. One, Daniel Martin Cowell. He says, so pipe dream goal, for the season was to shoot, par for 9 and or break 80. He said, I did both today. And I'm not sure. I may have mentioned this on the last show too, but this is a really cool one. He said it was a par 70 course, but not bad for 4 months ago. He was a 16 plus handicap. Wow. So that's awesome. And then, Robert Sumner, he wrote in, he said, and it's cool. He shared his round from Golf Shot. He said, I finally broke 80, about 29 years of golf in the making. Thanks for your part in this, guys. Check out my round and shot 79. And that's what's so cool too there. 29 years. That's what it's all about. Like sticking with it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And through that type of a time frame, your game's going to ebb and flow. There's going to be years when you play a little bit more, years when you play less, but as long as your trend is always learning, always getting a little better, you're going to hit your goals. You're going to get to that point. So it may seem like a long time, but it really depends on how much time you're able to put in. I've had a couple of years here in the mix between back injuries and having, some young kids that I'm like, I don't get out there and or definitely don't get to practice as much as I used to or would like to. But I still set goals of like staying at least where I am and maybe gaining 1 stroke a season or something like that. And then there's other seasons where I can just pour it on, like try to make it like some fire practice rounds and get in there as much as I can and try to really knock it down. And that's where you'll see even your handicap ebb and flow. But it's just so cool when I see these milestones, everything from, like I said, you making your first eagle, these guys both, breaking 80 for the first time. Excellent stuff.
Yeah, it is great. And let me tell you something. Small goals for me is key. We talk about it all the time. I incorporate this with everything in my life, including the gym. I've talked about my fitness routines of the small goals I want to accomplish in the gym. I don't go into the gym saying I want to come out and be absolutely jacked and have a 6-pack and be ripped. And, that's not it. I want to be able to do 20 pull-ups. Yeah. I want to be able to do, 4-foot box jumps at some point. I'm going to keep working for those goals. And it's the same thing. I mean, an eagle was just one thing. Breaking 80, for me, that might be too big. I just want to be able to hit more greens. And we always talk about setting small goals to achieve larger ones. I know we repeat it a lot, but let me tell you something. It's so important. I can't stress it enough. And that's going to be probably the key focus for me for the fall. I plan on playing a lot of fall golf because I kind of want to go out of the season on a good note. I've had a couple of poor rounds recently, other than the eagle. That was the most exciting part of them. But, I really want to try to hone in on some really nice scores just to close out the season, so I don't throw the clubs in the garage and say whatever, I'll look at them again in March or something.
And we got to get it in while we can, because man, it is getting cold up here in the Northeast. At night, I'm dropping down to 39 degrees here, but the days are still gorgeous. They're short, but they're gorgeous. But man, it's cold. But that's a good point you bring up. Even the gym being a long game. We've been talking a lot about physical fitness on the show. As you know, I'm trying to get into it, and man, I'm thinking the same way. I'm just like, long game progress. I hit the gym again this morning at 5 a.m. I'm trying to stick it out as much as I can. And I'm working through these exercises that, I'm getting from Matt, from Metabolic Meltdown. And some of this stuff, it is tough. I am just, right now I'm in that phase where it's just proving how out of shape I am. And it's just like, feel like drill team, just like keep it going at all costs. And then I'll be able to work through it. It's like you keep saying, just like 2 weeks,
almost there.
Work through it. But man, I am feeling it. Like I was doing some one-legged squats, but this is so new to me because it's so much stuff that I can do at home. Like I never,
big time.
I never could have conceptualized getting a good workout in at home. And I always thought like, I had the weights and stuff, but I was just doing this thing the other day. I'm not even up to it full, like being able to do it without the help of like a bench or a bed, but I was doing one-legged squats where you just like sit down and get up all with one leg. And just that, it's amazing how much of a burn you get in the core, low body. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. So I'm glad you're sticking with it, man.
Yeah, dude, it's cool stuff. All right, but let's get to our main topic here.
We got to talk Liberty National.
There's
Absolutely.
so much. I mean, first of all, we go into this thing. Let's just talk about, first of all, the attire leading up to this. So we're like, all right, we got to do this big if we're going to go. So we're texting or whatever. And you're like, we gotta dress something. We gotta get something dressed up. So I'm like, how about blazers? I'm like, it's still like we maintain a little bit of class out there, but we're still like decked out in the American flag.
It's brilliant.
So you dug these things up somewhere on the internet. They were awesome. It's probably one of my best fitting blazers, as funny as that sounds. I wanted to wear it to the wedding that I had the next day.
Right.
But I throw this thing on. Me and you, we got them, and we're like, all right. The funniest part is, first, we got lost going in because we were used to like with press credentials and stuff.
With media days, right?
We would just roll right up and park right there. And now we're just like kind of doing our own separate non-press thing. And we don't get to park in that lot. So we went through the same toll booths like 10 times. I would say if there's only one downfall to having an event at Liberty National, and I'll tell you all the reasons why I think that place is amazing in a second. But if there's one downfall, anybody who lives in that area in New York City knows the traffic is ridiculous. I mean, it's a great spot. If you're in Manhattan, you can just take the ferry over. But if you're driving in, especially us, like from Jersey and stuff like that, it's right by the tunnel. It's like slammed with traffic. And then you get all that traffic getting to the auxiliary lot. And then you sit in traffic with the bus that buses you over and then do it in reverse the other way. So we spent more time traveling back and forth than anything else. That was rough. But I can't forget that moment. Like we're about to get off the bus and we're like putting these jackets on. We're like, are we going to be this guy? Is that going to be us? We're going to be these guys wearing these things. And first we're thinking like, is this like,
but you went right for it.
I went right for it. I'm like, whatever. But we're thinking like, are we doing this? But then we got that instant validation because we walk in the front gate and who's the first guy we see? Marty Hackle.
That's right.
Right. And we've had him on the show before, Mr. Golf Fashion himself. And he's immediately taking selfies with us. And we're like, does this get the stamp of approval? He's like, for this? Absolutely. So then I'm like, I'm all confident. At that point, I wasn't worried about it again. And then you're right. We're walking the grounds. We had people like stopping me. Where'd you get that? They're taking pictures of the inside label. I got people taking pictures with us. But I was kind of surprised. We saw, if you watch it on TV, especially the later rounds, you saw all the guys like in the stands decked out in the red, white, and blue. But when we were there on Friday. It really wasn't a lot of people dressed up. We really stood out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, we did stick out a little bit. And yeah, the Weekend Warriors were there. Indeed. We saw them all over, social media and everything. But yeah, we did that right, man. I'm telling you, because the compliments I kind of felt like a pseudo celebrity walking around Liberty National that day. It was pretty sweet, not to mention We got to hang out in the Lacoste suite on the 15th hole.
Yeah.
We're dressed in these. We got Miss Universe in there. I mean, it's such cool company, and the jackets were a plus. I'm so glad you thought of that.
If we stood out anywhere, it was in that Lacoste tent.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
First of all, I want to thank the guys at Lacoste because they hooked us up with the Skyline booth, and we were over there for a little while, and they had invited us in. And we go in there, and if there was any place that we felt a little underdressed, it was there because everybody there looks great. Like you said, Miss Universe was in there, and everybody was so cool. They're all just kind of hanging out. But we're like, we walk in the door, and we're like, all right, should we lose the jackets? Like we feel a little bit like,
yep.
Are we kind of dumbing down your event with our hilarious attire here? And they're like, no, it's awesome. Leave it on. I mean, literally everyone
How great
loved
was that?
it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if there's a lesson to be learned here, if you go to one of those team events, just do it. Do it big. Wear whatever you want. Support your team. It's awesome. People love it. But talking about the course itself, Liberty National.
Go ahead. Before you do, back in the Lacoste suite, was it wrong that I just took 3 pieces of grilled chicken and just ate it like a caveman?
Oh my God, this guy. That was my favorite part. They got this nice spread laid out, and I'm working my way down this buffet and grabbing a little bit of everything.
They got couscous.
They've got this awesome flavored water tower thing, whatever they got. I mean, it was pretty solid. And I'm not even paying attention to what Mike's doing. So I'm putting my plate together, and then I sit down next to the guy and I look over, and somehow he's just got 3 full chicken breasts with nothing else. Like, you've managed to scrape off whatever they had.
Yeah, I got that couscous right out of there.
There was couscous on this. There was like different vegetables, like all stuff like on it. This guy's got it all scraped off. I'm just seeing him just cutting through with his plastic knife, cutting through 3 chicken breasts. And I'm like, talk about somebody who's dedicated to his diet right now.
I was drinking vodka straight.
That's
and
true.
Chicken breast. I mean, it was a beautiful combination for macronutrients for me that day. It was great.
Well, yeah, and there's one thing for sure, is that the alcohol was flowing out there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that was something, like everywhere you went, there was like another like tent or something where you could pick up a drink. And I was even watching it. Sunday is when they had the early rounds, and those guys were hitting the Bud heavies. It was like 9 a.m. I turned it on. I see the guys in the stands having a couple beers, man. No doubt about it.
Do you remember? You remember that when we ran into my buddy that I typically work out with there?
Yes. Yep.
I saw him today at the gym, and I said, "Hey, man, it was great seeing you. Wasn't that a great event?" He goes, "Dude, I kind of remember seeing you, I think." But he's like, "I was so lit. I was drinking all day," and I'm like, "Don't worry, man. But I did see you, and it was great to see you."
That's so funny.
But that shows you that everyone was having a blast.
Everyone was. I don't know. Did you catch on Instagram when Kisner was even handing his drink?
He's drinking other people's. Yeah, incredible. I mean, that's what it's all about. Imagine they could do that week in and week out on tour.
Forget about it. Yeah, that's the thing. It was so laid back. I mean, part of that probably was because of USA's position being just kind of being a blowout. I think it got like really relaxed towards the end because it wasn't tense coming down to the wire, but it was cool. I mean, everyone there was awesome. You like this, even like with security going in, like it felt good. It felt safe because they did check everyone's bags. And like, I know that's a little bit of inconvenience, but I don't even have to go on, about what's going on in the news right now to be like, that's needed. It took about 5-10 minutes to get in because everyone had to go through the metal detectors. But, that was even that process. Everyone was cool. Everyone was quick. No one, whatever. And then once you got in, like just the whole thing, I mean, because we've covered a lot of PGA Tour events. And I think the vibe for this was one of my favorite events we've ever attended.
It was kind of, what it felt like for me? It felt like a college party with class.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, I it was a lot of people like, in our age group. I mean, you had your whole group, from kids all the way up. But I saw just a lot of folks like in our age group just with their buddies, having a good time, having a couple drinks. It was gorgeous out that day.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I are sweating in these blazers, but it was gorgeous. But in the course, come on.
Dude, I laugh every time I hear people saying that golf is dying with some demographic. It's like the younger guys or this or that. Every time I laugh because I think those people just have not been to an event, because we go there and it is so spread out amongst every age group, every whatever. It's just like you see just countless people there just enjoying it.
It's a Friday. I mean, they're taking kids out of school. People are leaving work. I mean, that's a good sign.
Yeah. We had those people next to us who said, like, we took our kid out of school. This is his social studies.
Right.
Because you had U.S.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Right, exactly. But yeah, so talking about Liberty National, you've had the chance to play there. I haven't played there yet. I want to get out there. I mean, look, we've been to a lot of tracks. I can honestly say I don't think I've ever seen one, at least firsthand. Maybe you have with some of the places that you've played, but I've never seen a place that's more well manicured than Liberty National. I mean, I've walked some of the best fairways. There's nothing like this place. It's just, you almost like have to check yourself every once in a while because you just like get this like glimpse of something. You just feel like it's fake. It's like, It's just like the ground almost feels fake in a good way, that it's just so perfect. Like, even with all those people out there, thousands and thousands of fans like walking around, it was just pristine to a point that's ridiculous. And everywhere you look, it's an amazing view. I still can't believe that they made that place out of an industrial wasteland.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
That backdrop definitely enhances, the features of the course. I mean, just playing, remember that par 3 we walked up on right away?
Yeah.
And we were taking some photos, and it was literally right on the cliff of the water, overlooking the city, Lady Liberty, everything right there.
Right.
I mean, the views were spectacular, but you're right. The course, I mean, I just want to lay down on that fairway and take a nap.
It's nuts.
I mean, it's incredible. It didn't look like that when I played it. It didn't look anything like that. I don't know why, but there was no tournaments in town or anything. So it was just average wear and tear of the season. Obviously, they took much, great care of it this year.
Yeah, but I mean, even when we were there for the Barclays, what was it, 3 years ago? Something like that. I still got that same feel. It's just like something special when you're there. It's just, it's nuts. But yeah, when you have like tee shots and your line is like the Statue of Liberty or like the Freedom Tower, it's like,
crazy. It's great.
It's really great. And, I love to see that too, because here what you had like what was a true industrial wasteland to the point where they were sending like one by like after another nonstop trucks there for months just to truck in the amount of ground soil that they needed to build this place on. I mean, no expense was spared. It is the single most expensive golf course ever built, at least in the U.S. I think they said $250 million. But it's so great to see that they took some place that was, like I said, an eyesore and turned it into this beautiful, cathedral to golf. And then we get to play the President's Cup there. I mean, it was just a home run all around.
And this is the type of club that the celebrities belong to, and they don't live anywhere near here, and they just belong here to belong here. Robert Kraft, Justin Timberlake. When they're in town, they have the ability to go there and play it. And there was Mario Lemieux was there when I played. He was right in the lunchroom, the dining room, I should call it. But that's the type of club it is. And hey, the money shows, because what a phenomenal golf course, the shape that course was in. Yes, I agree with you. I haven't seen a course as beautiful as that in all the courses I've ever played. And what's pretty cool is that there are some courses out there in the world that probably look 10 times better than that. You know what I mean? And we've never seen it yet, but it's crazy.
If there is, I mean, okay, Augusta or whatever.
Maybe like,
it's almost hard for me to imagine just being there. It was just like, I couldn't find a blemish on that place. It was that great. I mean, even every one of the cart paths to be all in those pavers, perfectly laid pavers.
That was a bonus for them.
The place is something. It really is. But, let's talk a little bit about the golf. First of all, this U.S. team is a powerhouse.
Many years to come,
because we look at the average age of these guys. I mean, a lot of these guys are 24 years old, and just unbelievable from a level of A, skill, but B, like just under pressure. Like these guys just like eat it up. All cool, level-headed guys, just and they seem to like just embrace that this level of match play competition like I've never seen before.
Dude, this is like spring break part 2 for these guys. I mean, you could tell it's like a club. It's like a group. It's a group of friends. Like, think about it. You just grind it out 41 weeks on tour. And then you just get to all come together and hang in New York City with your buddies. Bring your wives and girlfriends. You have something every night. You're on Jimmy Fallon, whatever. You're catered to. You're getting, what are they getting? Boat rides to the course every day to avoid traffic. I mean, come on, this is incredible. To see these guys like kind of vibe together the way they do, I don't think they can lose. I think Europe next year needs a task force or something, because it's going to be incredible.
It really is.
I can't wait.
And for anyone who says like, well, this isn't the Ryder Cup and let's see how they perform again, please look at even the lineup of this international team. You've got Jason Day, Hideki Matsuyama, Louis Oosthuizen, who I think came in like second place in every major. You have, Adam Scott, Jonathan Vegas, Brendan Grace. I mean, this is nothing to shake a stick at. Schwartzel, this is a solid team that they played against, and they just hammered them. I mean, some of these things that we got to see the first day, like Justin Thomas and Ricky Fowler going out and beating Schwartzel Matsuyama 6-4. I mean, like just beating up on him to a certain extent. You had Patrick Reed and Jordan Spieth. That was one of my other favorite duos to watch, because even though Reed arguably didn't do much at all this year, again, you just see him step up. I mean, one thing that I'll remember for the rest of my life is watching that Ryder Cup match he had against Rory McIlroy. I mean, that was, I talked about it here on the show. I think it was one of the best things to happen to the modern game in the last, 2 decades, because it was just like edge of your seat for 18 holes. But look at these guys. They win 5-4 over Kim and Grillo. It's something else. And then Hoffman and Chappell, Kevin Chappell, Chappell.
There you go.
Tell me the right way. The Chappell Show?
Call him the Chappelle Show.
I can't pronounce names.
Kevin
fans know that because
Chappell.
they always murder theirs. But anyway, they win 6-5 on Friday. Friday was just unbelievable. I mean, that was the day we were there. The U.S. straight out won 4 matches and halved one. They didn't give up a single match that day. So, I mean, by Sunday going into it, it was 14.5 to 3.5. I mean, it looked like just a complete blowout. But Sunday managed to still be exciting, because we saw the international team just come forward and just like kind of really do their thing. And win a couple of those matches and make it a little bit more respectable. But other things that I loved seeing, Phil Mickelson, how well he played. I mean, for being like the quote unquote old guy on the team. I'm sure we'll see him in captain's capacities for a long time, but smart play putting him on the team just to have a little bit of that experience. They were joking around going into it, having Phil's bag next to Justin Thomas and then the number of President's Cup matches won versus Justin Thomas coming in fresh and not having won. So you get that like dichotomy, and these guys are working with each other. So that was so cool. And then one thing, go ahead, Mike. No,
I just want to say, speaking of the players, standing 15 feet away from him, how did you think the big cat looked? Because, Tiger looks diesel, man. He looks like he's in great shape.
He does.
Right?
He really does. I'll say he does look a little old.
He does look old, especially in the photos.
I say that with the utmost respect, but I guess it's because like we just feel like we're so used to seeing the Tiger who was playing, and he unfortunately has been out of the spotlight for the most part, other than some of the bad stuff that's been going on. So seeing him out there, he looked a little old, but he looked healthy. He was walking the course every day. He was out there the whole time. I didn't really see him riding in the cart much. He was walking. We walked a couple of holes, with him, with the groups that he was with on Friday. I will say that he's got some new arm candy. Did you notice that?
Notice that.
That's right. I mean, this is first time, really since Lindsey Vonn that we've seen him out there with somebody. And that's Erica, Herman, who I guess he has, running his restaurant, but it looks like they're romantically involved now. So, I don't know. I mean, it could be good signs, good for Tiger getting maybe back on his feet, getting in a stable relationship, getting out there and playing a little bit maybe soon. Who knows? I don't know though. He did in the press conference kind of indicate it didn't look too the first time we really saw him kind of indicate that he's probably not coming back. Well,
hold on. He did say that if he does come back, he's only going to play in the Arnold Palmer Pro-Am. He's not going to play in the event. He's just going to play in the Pro-Am.
Just in the Pro-Am. He's going to make sure he gets the draw with you, right?
Just so I can play my round with him.
Yeah.
But no,
But
I
we've
mean,
seen him so confident that, he was going to play again. And so to the first time for him really seeing him kind of not saying that, it just looks like the writing's on the wall.
I know. I mean, it's hard to mix the old with the new, but I would just love to see like a Sunday where it's like a three-way tie for first between JT, Spieth, and Tiger at the at Riviera for whatever, or something. Just see it once. See him try to hang with these guys just one time. Yeah. That's all. He doesn't have to win it. Just want to see how they would duel.
Well, that's the key too, is like what he's coming back into is some of the most competitive golf we've seen in years and years and years. I mean, for him, will he maybe play again? Maybe. Will he be competitive again? I don't know. That's a long shot. And it not necessarily because of his age, because you look at Phil, Phil's still arguably competitive out there. He hasn't won in a little while. He's still competitive. He's up there, but the talent, the raw talent that's out there right now, and for his health with that back, I don't know. I don't want to keep holding out hope and then being kind of let down by it, but you never know. But
would you watch the Champions Tour if Tiger and Phil were on it?
Oh yeah, why not? I think any golf fan is going to turn on the television when Tiger's on. And
yeah,
golf knows that too, which is why they love having him around in some capacity.
Right. And
I'm sure the ratings just for this was up just because Tiger was as a captain there. He wasn't even playing.
Yeah, for sure. Totally.
But speaking about talent, one guy you got to highlight, look at, Justin Thomas, right? Flashback exactly 1 year ago, and you've got a young guy who's got one win to his name on the PGA Tour. Right. And he's like with some promise, but he's like down in the middle of the pack. Then he comes out in 1 year. Now he's on top of it. He's wins the FedEx Cup, 5 wins, one of the stars of the, if not arguably the star of the President's Cup. So it's amazing how much we talked about how much our games can change in a year. Anybody's game can change in a year. It's amazing. I'm
so upset that we invited him to come on the show before his first of 5 wins. It was about a month before, I think, his win in Malaysia, I think in the fall series last year. And we were speaking to his dad and his agent. They said, yeah, he would love to, but he's just got a busy schedule coming up. And we're like, all right, great. So we're going to get Justin on the show. We're going to talk to him about the upcoming season. And sure enough, the guy has a career freaking season, and we can get on the show.
Now I'm sure we're at the end of a long list of people knocking on his door.
Exactly.
Oh
well. Maybe we could start a hashtag, everyone. Get Justin Thomas on the golf podcast. Help us out.
Yeah, because we know he's all over social media, so he'll see it for sure.
Right.
But yeah, so like that was cool, and just seeing the level of play. But then one thing that I wanted to point out too, because I don't know. I haven't been to all the events. I haven't been to some of these Ryder Cups and stuff like that, but you always hear kind of about the quote, like American fans and like the way that they act and the things that they say to the other teams. And I even see it on Instagram and Twitter, some of the things that were said and some of the like the negative chants and stuff like that. But truthfully, being there, did not really experience that. I more feel that like maybe they're highlighting a couple of small incidents. And I think sometimes people get like a bad rap and a bad name. I don't think it's as prevalent as you think. I think it's just kind of like the loudest voices getting kind of singled out. To me, Mike, tell me if you had a different experience, but I felt like even the people who are clearly cheering for Team USA were still rooting on the guys on the international team. Jason Day, Matsuyama, right?
I was guilty of it. We stood 3 feet from Mark Leishman's beautiful flop shot on 9.
Yeah.
With that crazy green. And I was like, yeah, Leash, great shot. I mean, I wanted him to get it there. I mean, right. and I caught myself and I was like, oh, wait a minute. But you know what? I didn't care.
Yeah,
I didn't really care.
That was not the vibe at all. The crowd went nuts for that. Even though you look around, you see a bunch of people wearing like USA stuff and the crowd went nuts. I just didn't really see it. I mean, I didn't get that vibe. I didn't get that vibe where you're going out there and you're getting people who are just mercilessly heckling the other team. And I just didn't see it. So I think it's just more so that a couple people who are just kind of the loudest during maybe some key moments that are kind of giving people a bad rap. But to me, I felt like everyone in there was basically just rooting on wanting to see some good golf. It's on U.S. soil, so clearly a lot of people want to see the USA win. But I saw more people rooting for good golf than I saw for single-handedly for one team or one side.
Totally.
And the thing is, too, there's not like it's a huge divide. I mean, this is not like 1984 and it's the U.S. versus Russia,
Right.
It's like nowadays, these guys are playing on the tour. We're seeing them week in and week out. We're rooting for them. It's only, you're not even really thinking boundaries and countries and stuff like that until you have something like this, and it becomes much more of a friendly competition.
Right.
So I thought that was one big thing that was really kind of cool with it. And of course you had like your crazies on, the fanatics or whatever they were on Sunday, but it was crazy in a good way. I didn't see too much of, like I said, anything bad, anything heckling. And then one other thing we have to talk about, Mike, the WAGs.
Mm-hmm.
Man, yeah, all the guys brought their ladies.
Love the WAGs.
Wow. Some of these chicks.
Where do you begin?
Where do you begin? I'll tell you one thing though. They're really cool. I was so happy with how cool they were. We got a couple pictures with some of them, and they're just down, just to have, they're out there. They're having a good time walking the course.
Look at their week. I mean, it's lined up for them. They see the gifts some of these ladies got. They got to take home treadmills or spin bikes. And people were just giving them these things, vendors and the tour, and not only that, but like everyone's screaming your name. Paulina, Tori Slater was there, Daniel Berger's girlfriend. Then you had Jenna Sims, Brooks Koepka's girlfriend, who, by the way, loved the jacket. She was laughing at us. Yes. Remember, I called her out. I was like, what are you
laughing at?
And she's like, I love it. So she approved. We got a really great smile out of her. There's a smile I'll never forget because she's stunning. What else? Kenny G. It's not just to jump off the WAGs real quick because I remember we ran into Kenny G. But even all the ladies on the other side, you had Ellie Day following Jason.
Yep.
I mean, they were everywhere, and that's such a cool thing. I mean, it's Amy Mickelson. They're just following their guys around. They got to do that every day, and I'm sure they don't mind it.
They don't mind it. Well, and one person for sure, Gretzky. I mean, you could tell she kind of grew up in the spotlight, so to speak, and she's used to this with her father because she was just as comfortable as can be, like with the crowd. She stopped and was taking pictures with everybody, saying hi. She would just where I noticed some of the ladies and some of the players and stuff kind of like would stay as far away from the ropes as possible just to kind of like get through their zone. But she would just walk down right on the edge of the rope and just be right next to the crowd. Nice as can be, stop with anybody, take a picture, say hi, talk. You say hi to her, like, hey, Paulina, how's it going? She'll just say hi back.
She'll say hi. Absolutely.
She just seemed like not above it, just like really kind of cool in that way. And I wasn't expecting that. I just from what I know, or I should say, I don't know her, so know of her going into it. I just kind of thought like, all right, I felt like she's maybe, growing up rich kid, maybe a little bit stuck up, maybe a little bit whatever.
She was loving the spotlight.
She was just cool. She was down to earth. She was just like saying hi to people, and that was really fun. So that was cool. We got a picture with her in there too. But yeah, it's great to see that all the ladies come out because that's good for golf too. There's no doubt about the TV cameras flash into those ladies every once in a while. It is good for the game and good for the ratings. There's no doubt about that. So overall, really great experience. As I'm sure everyone knows, the U.S. went on to win it 1911. After, like I said, a respectable showing on Sunday by the international team to kind of bring it a little bit closer. Daniel Berger ended up sealing the deal with his win. He got that last point that they needed. I mean, going into Sunday, they needed 1 point. We all knew it was going to happen. And he went in, he got it, and well deserving of it too, because he played solidly. And you could even argue when you look at a team like this, he would be one of the, kind of the lower on the totem pole. I mean, being anywhere on that totem pole is an accomplishment because this is like the dream team here. But he played incredibly solidly all the way through. Another young guy, another guy who's going to be great for the game in the next year, years to come. Wouldn't be surprised at all to see him win a big event next year, especially playing at that level. Cooch out there, like he's a big crowd favorite. He got into the crowd a few times.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Ryder Cups next year, these guys all want to be back. So that's got to fuel you at the beginning of the season. Like think about all of the things these guys can play for. I got to make the playoffs, then I got to win the playoffs, and I want to win majors, and then I want to make a Ryder Cup. So
yep.
Focus, man. I mean, you and I, we just go out there and say, hey, I just want to have a good round. That's the only pressure. It's crazy.
Yeah. But it always does inspire me to play something like this. I would love to do this, like a multi-day, even if it was a 2-day, just set up some sort of a tournament. We should do that sometime with Golficity. Get some like teams involved and do something, because this could be a lot of fun.
It has to be in person.
It's got to be. Right. But I'm sure there's a way we can make it happen, because that would be pretty cool. I've always kind of wanted to do that as like a short golf getaway, like a weekend. Play, maybe get up somewhere, play a Friday afternoon round, a Saturday all day, and then a Sunday morning. You could get like 4 rounds in. You could vary them like they do, 4-ball, foursomes, whatever you want to do. That would be
We'll have to do it.
Cool,
we'll have to put together the packages for everyone. We'll put it out there. I'm sure we'll have some diehards who will buy in.
Yeah.
We're going to vlog the whole thing. It's going to be a great event. I see it already brewing in my mind.
Yes. There's got to be a way we can make that happen.
Done.
So good stuff. All right. That's everything we have. Like I said, I wanted to recap it because it was so much fun being there. If you ever get a chance to get to one of these events, I say this about the PGA Tour events all the time, but I'm talking about these two. Get out and do it. It's an experience. In a lot of ways, it's a long day, but it's a fun day. You get out there, you get to see these guys, the way that they play, the way that they hit the ball. I mean, it gives you so much just perspective on the game and the level at which it can be played. But it's just the PGA Tour, the way they do these events, I mean, it's just perfect. They've got it down to such a science. It's always a good time. So it was great to be out there. Again, I want to thank the guys from Lacoste who were generous enough to have us up there and get us in their booth. And that was beautiful. Nice views of the 15th hole. Nice views of Miss Universe and everything else. So that was a great time having us out there. But again, great stuff. Follow us along on social. Make sure you're following at Golficity, because whenever we go to these things, that's where we get to post a little bit about that. And that's it. That's everything I have. Anything else you want to add, Mike?
No, man. You and I have to just get out there and get another round in. So let's find a day, warm weather. Hopefully there's a couple of days left, and let's go do it.
Yeah, I think we got maybe 3-4 more good weeks left, so we got to get out there.
West Point.
Yeah, West Point.
Yeah.
I'm all about it. I'm all about it. Just find a day and book it, and we get out there.
Done.
All right, everybody. We'll check in with you again next week. If you did attend the President's Cup, let us know about your experience in the Facebook group. You can go to Facebook, just search The Golf Podcast. You'll see our group. It's free. Join it. Let us know. Same thing with your own personal accomplishments out on the golf course. Post them when they happen. We'll try to mention as many of them as we can here on the show, because I want to make sure we highlight that. All right. We'll see you all again next week.